The remaining U.S. troops in Dahuk in northern Iraq are scheduled to pull out tomorrow. UN guards will take their place. Some American veterans of Gulf violence have been home for years. The survivors of Iraq's 1987 missile attack on the USS Stark. 37 men were killed, more than 20 were wounded, and their wounds run deep. White Andrews tells us why.
James Wheeler seems every bit a carefree 30-year-old store clerk living in El Paso until he recalls the day 4 years ago when 2 Iraqi Exocet missiles tore a hole in the USS Stark.
I still have problems dealing with it. Still wake up middle of the night. Nightmares. Lose a lot of sleep.
The blast burned most of Wheeler's legs, filled him with shrapnel, and worst of all, still revisits him in all its horror.
I knew this was going to happen. I just can't talk about it.
Wheeler and 20 other sailors hurt in that attack are angry that 4 years later there is no resolution in their $1 million injury claims against Iraq. Like Mark Bareford, who was also badly burned, they believe the State Department, which handled the claims, allowed Iraq to dither the case away.
I feel our government has kind of pushed it to the wayside. Just let it slide by.
The Stark, remember, was hit in the Gulf in 1987, back when Saddam Hussein was waging that other war against Iran, and the U.S. was his friend. The U.S. bought it when Iraq promised to pay.
It happened by mistake, and we are sorry.
But not so sorry that Iraq paid quickly. It took 2 years for Iraq to pay claims to the families of sailors who died, and the State Department never struck a deal on payments to the injured. Jim Wheeler, who had U.S. officials posturing at his bedside when the attack was in the public eye,
James, this is the American ambassador. Do you hear me?
paints a sorry picture of having the government as your lawyer after that.
For some reason, I feel like they think we're a nuisance. You know, you call up there, oh, not these people again.
The sailors who were injured on the Stark believe they're being treated as disposable, neglected during the times when the Bush administration was busy making nice to Saddam Hussein, and forgotten altogether now in the rush to force Iraq to pay damages for the war.
Immediately prior to the invasion of August 2, 1990, it appeared that the injury claims would be settled and payment would be received and distributed. This did not, however, occur.
And might not occur now. The U.S. says it's still working on the Stark claims, but with war damages the priority, the Stark is on hold.
They took a sucker punch at us just out of nowhere and got away with it scot-free.
These ex-servicemen today see their claims as sitting in permanent limbo and see themselves as the living victims of that Bush administration decision not to confront an increasingly aggressive Iraq. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, El Paso, Texas.
Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, the new Nazis of Germany, 15,000 strong and growing. And Eye on America tonight, the doctor whose beat is the street.